Hello, everybody. The new Danger Pack is out, and as excited as I initially was, as I'm sure everybody was, because it's a new pack exciting, I wanted to try and get good at it competitively. However, the problem is with this pack is that it's bad. It's cool, it's funny, but it's also really bad. Um, so here's a match against somebody on the ranked ladder who was like 1600 and something. Not a recognized name to me in the dojo, just a random 1600 rated player who is on Pack 1. Now, Pack 1, by design, is very good at making just big units because that's kind of the point of it. It's very easy to understand for newer players, and that's good. And that's good. It's cool that you're able to do that. However, it does make it very difficult for a pack that's as complicated as Danger Pack, because Danger Pack is very tech-oriented. It just strictly doesn't really have many good options to deal with just a big unit. The Heron that I skipped over, this guy, Give Meatbone to the Friend Ahead and is a 4-2 is an okay option, but it's oftentimes just not enough. I tried experimenting with the Amami Rabbit, and it is attack scaling, but the problem is just that it's so easily countered by a single Melon Armor that you end up having to transform it. You have to buy a chickpea on it and transform it, which is really bad. Most of the time. The Sith Tomato is basically a tier 2 broccoli if you can position it correctly. I think it's reasonably balanced. A couple of people are saying, oh, tier 2 broccoli is broken, but it is surprisingly difficult on this pack, especially to ensure that things get hurt and not killed. But we have this guy, the Rollaway Monkey, who transforms Friends Ahead into any useful level 1 hurt pet from tier 3 or lower. So you see here my two pets became a camel and then a peacock. And who would have thought that the closest or the best I do with this pack is just when I transform things into units that are not in the pack. But anyway, I take this because it's turn 5, and I take this guy, the Golden Tamarin. I also should have probably put this carrot, the 3 attack here, to make it go before. The idea with the Golden Tamarin, part of the reason why it's one of the few strong units in this pack, is that you can transform it at the start or before the start of battle, have the start of battle activate, and then have something else transform it a second time. I'm not sure if it actually activates here because it's a 50-50. I don't quite remember. Yeah, it becomes a sea cucumber here, and it gets the tasty ailment, and then it transforms into, in this case, a lizard. That won't always happen. But it kind of shows a point that I made a bit earlier with part of the problem with this pack. I'll talk about it in a little bit. You notice my Amami Rabbit, which is a 6-3, is immediately nullified because there's a melon. Now, granted, it isn't the norm that they have a melon on turn 5 that's not a turtle. They would have had to get an early turtle and pilled it, but still. The lizard in this case, level 2, ends up being enough. Just raw attack with the 6-2 summons, but that doesn't always happen because it's a random hurt pet. With the transformation mechanics especially, it's very hard to make anything consistent. And here actually this works out really nicely because the Tasty gave stats to the Golden Tamarin. The Golden Tamarin now has higher attack. It can transform, trigger the start battle, and then get transformed again by the Rollaway Monkey. I bought this guy for a turn. I'm just a lot of people are saying this is currently the worst unit that's ever been released competitively, which I think is a bit of an exaggeration, because it can be fairly good as just a one-turn tech unit. But yeah, it does have very like niche use cases. But regardless, here I buy it because I'm not really close to any of the levels. I can't find like the level on Golden Tamarin or anything like that. I decide to keep scaling the attack of this Amami Rabbit. Just because it's getting permanent attack. I know I'm gonna buy a chickpea on this to transform it. Hold on, if you notice, so this guy makes a perkless enemy silly, which makes the ability have random targets. I saw this and thought that is really, really funny and is probably gonna be really bad. And I mean, I was right, pretty much. Crisp, and then, the Crisp then gets overridden by the silly. So actually it was just strictly worse. But you'll see how the silly works. The ability is activated, it damages adjacent pets, but it's damaging two. It hits its own badger. Like, they hit their own badger, and they also hit the tree kangaroo. But we spawned two lizards out of this, which means we have enough to win again. I mean, the rollaway monkey is strong, but like oftentimes this is what even newer players to Pack 1 do, is just like have the tendency to make a big unit. And normally just doing that on its own is like very counterable if you're Pack 1 or a lot of the other packs that have come out. But this pack really, really struggles against it, which is why I think it's gonna be so hard to play competitively. Anyway, that's the chickpea for the Amami Rabbit. It also it also gives stats to two other units. This guy is a health scaler. One thing about this pack is that it very heavily focuses on having more health and less attack. And because it's so hard to just have, like, glass cannons, like, the best quote-unquote glass cannon, especially early, is the aforementioned Amami Rabbit, which, again, gets countered by one melon very easily. So, it's very hard to make glass cannons to try and trade big units effectively. You end up just making high health units, which don't do very well into high health, high attack units, because then the health is kind of wasted. Like, the point of the health is that you get multiple triggers out of it, and that just doesn't work a lot of the time. Anyway, we buy chickpea again, because I want to keep the rollaway monkey, and I want to get the attack on it if possible. And we got pretty lucky to hit it quickly here. The Golden Tamarin becomes a Snow Leopard, which is a jump attack pet. So you see jump attack, one random enemy, it hit the giraffe. So it jumped from the second spot, attacked this. Like so. It took 1 damage from the giraffe, because the giraffe was one attack, and it dealt 13. It just works like a regular attack, and then it becomes a camel. And honestly, the camel stats were relevant to winning this fight as well. We got some permanent scaling from the Hawaiian Monk Seal, but still the Hawaiian Monk Seal is fairly weak. And they're down to 1 life. At this point, like, again, the thing to bear in mind is that this is a 1600 player. No disrespect to 1600s, like, it is its own achievement if you reach that threshold, but people that are competitive in the dojo, normally having a rating of around, like, anywhere from 1800 to 2000, usually will, like, be able to beat a 1600 pretty easily. But because I was on this pack, the 1600 was on this pack, it took a lot of effort to do. So actually here, combining the rollaway monkeys makes this no longer work. The rollaway monkey just transforms it first before the start battle's able to do anything. So instead, to be honest, I could have like put one of these there, but the main thing is I buy 2 of these. Wait, I think that's like legitimately bugged. I definitely did buy them separately in the game. I'm not sure why they are like stacked in this way in the replay. Because these 2 are supposed to be separate. So Ignore that. Remove 6 attack from everyone to a minimum of 5 attack. So, these aren't, like, massively scaled. They're pretty big, but they're not massively scaled. They're at a point where this 6 attack removal is actually fairly relevant. Weirdly enough, like, 2 big units here going wide is worse than going tall, because say all the resources were put on this Badger, it was like a 25-25. The attack only actually reduces it to about 13 attack, which isn't that relevant, and the Badger could be even bigger than that. Like, with more time in the game especially, just having, like, one giant unit, you can't really deal with it on this pack. Even the, like, later scaling is all, like, wide. So you have, like, the Amsterdam Albatross, which is wide scaling. You have Helmeted Hornbill, which is decent, but it's also wide scaling. Even, like, Blue Whale. Like, Blue Whale is wide scaling. In the exact same way. You don't really have anything to go tall. And it's very difficult to try and contest with just, like, a single big unit for pack 1. And yeah, keep rolling. Again, these are supposed to be separate. I'm not sure if it will fix itself here. Yeah, okay, it does. So, yeah, here it becomes a snow leopard if it doesn't get a chance to jump attack. There's a leopard with monkey. And I think if I remember, I draw this fight. Yeah, so it removes attack from everybody. Even still, because these have such low attack, it goes, like, after the leopard. It's really weird. But, in this case, because we have Porcupine here, which is able to get a breakpoint, we get close. I think if I remember, we draw this fight. Because of the Badger, yeah. It's got exactly 5 attack, which is gonna exactly damage, but that's okay. It is effectively means, though, that we need to win this turn. Because they have, like, monkey scaling, which can be used to just make a very tall unit. And, like, the leopard especially is scary long term. And, like, our long term of this pack would be getting a Sifaka and, like, transforming the Golden Tamarin. You can do a similar tech with the Rollaway Monkey, where you transform this, activate the start of battle, and then transform it into a Feint Pet. And that's kind of what the long term of this pack looks like. Blue Whale is largely unviable unless you get it really early and you have, like, a life lead, like if like in this case. I actually skipped that Cocoa Bean. I think I take one later on. Yeah, I realized that this was wrong, so I fix it here. Well, I don't fully fix it, but I at least make it a 50-50, which is better. And I take a Cocoa Bean. Cocoa Bean is, like, very strong, but annoyingly a lot of the strong stuff in this pack is also, like, very unreliable. This Puck is transformed into an exact copy of a random enemy once. So, like, by putting it on a small unit, you most of the time get value, especially if it becomes a rhino with melon, or if it becomes a badger with melon, or even if it just, like, transforms into the leopard, that's okay. But also, conversely, it can just transform into the monkey and actively lose stats. And, like, it's this weird gamble that you kind of have to take if you want a strong board, but then it means your board is really weak some of the time. Anyway, I mean, the monkey's level 2 now, but they're also on 1 life. I still have the 2 cardinal fish. And this is, I think, the reason I won this fight. Although it might have been possible for me to win without it. The Golden Tamarin becomes a werewolf, which I believe is a 1 in 7. And it's on an even turn. So, I mean, you could think of it as a 1 in 14, but, like, it's not exactly the same. Because this turn was always going to need to be the turn where I'd won. But the werewolf activates start of battle. The leopard hits something useless as well. Like, it doesn't hit the cardinal fish here. The werewolf doubles stats, and then these become herd pets. There's a bunch of attack reduction. This becomes the badger, which is definitely an upgrade in stats. The coconut gains, or the gorilla gains coconut, and then we break it. But like, at this point, we win off of the back of this just being a giant herd unit. It doesn't necessarily even need to be a porcupine. Just the fact that it's a giant unit because of the werewolf stats is enough to win in this case. And it just like breaks through everything here. But if this was like anything else, then the camel would be able to clean up the rest. And we win. So, like, it doesn't seem like a massive, crazy win that I'm showing off. Like, as I mentioned, it's against a 1600. But it really demonstrates how difficult it is to win with this pack. Anybody that knows the counter being like just make one massive unit kind of just beats this pack every time if they're able to force that line. This was like the only person that wasn't also playing Danger Pack that I was able to win against while like playing ranked. At least so far, and there's like potential that there's some stuff we don't know about this pack. I've been trying to investigate it, but it so far just looks like all of the tech to deal with a big unit just doesn't do enough. And then you have to like end up weirdly relying on cocoa beans, and then if there's one massive unit, cocoa bean is a lot less likely to hit the right thing, and then like it feels like a lot of things just need to go right for you to be able to beat pack 1. And like even with this game, I think I got pretty damn lucky with some of the outcomes, like with the werewolf, and with some fights being decided by the Golden Tamarin having a 50-50. And so, like, yeah, on average, this pack seems to just lose to pack 1. So if you're thinking of playing this competitively, don't. I mean, I'm going to end up doing that for Team Soul, but yeah, if you can help it, don't. But that's it for now. I will update if the community finds anything that can maybe give this pack a fighting chance. But for now, that's it for me. Have a wonderful day.